The following program is suitable for all audiences.
Let's let this hard work pay off. Let's cut it loose, ball out, let's put a lot of freaking points up on the board. Let's go. Every day we improve, right? Yep. Reset, job not done. Yes, sir. Play by play, next play mentality. Love you, bro.
I want you to take a second to think about everything every one of you gave up to be in this position right here. I don't care what you did, you had to give something else to have this opportunity. So take advantage of it tonight. Play ball like you love it. Here we go.
Come on, boys. Let's eat up, man. Get it.
Like we talked about earlier this week, it's the opportunity for us to stack this game. Let's go ahead and execute and be the playmakers out there. Let's go. Playmakers on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I'm going to challenge you right now for greatness. Yes, sir. You got me? Yes, sir. You take this thing over right now. Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. Trubisky throwing left side of the end zone. Catch is made. Touchdown Bears.
Attaboy! Attaboy! Great job.
Snap. Trubisky throws the slant right. Robinson's in the end zone. Touchdown. A well-executed drive puts the Bears in front.
Come on, boys. Kick out. D-Lo, hell of a run, bro.
Bearlissimo.
Welcome to Bearlissimo, the George Bayliss Show. My name is Aldo Gandia. George has put together another great show. He's got 2 guests for us. Fat Mike of the new Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show will join us later. But first, George is going to talk to someone who is really stepping up in the world of sports training, and his story begins like this.
What's up, man? This is your boy, Chad, a.k.a. Ocho Cinco.
Child, please. Hey, that's one of them like, child, please. Child, please. You know what child, please mean? Child, please is a nice way of telling someone, you know, beep. If somebody come to you, if coach come to you and be like, man, did he cover you? You can just look at coach and be like, man, coach, child, please, because you really disrespecting me, right? Like, I really don't need to explain this to you, but if I say it with some oomph, child, please, that's like, man.
That's the Footwork King.
You feel me? Try it, man. This shit work.
Hey, especially down there, you really shouldn't call from up here. Maybe up here, yeah, but come on, that's what we push at so we don't get a call.
What you gonna get, right? Child, please.
That was Chad Ocho Cinco, a man who inspires our guest today. So who is he joining us on the Bears Barroom? Growing up in Houston, Texas, where football is life, most of our guest youth was spent invested in the gridiron. In fact, he played all his way through high school despite battling numerous injuries along the way. He didn't have a scholarship, but child, please, that ain't stopping him. As he was intent on extending his football career, he walked on at the University of Houston in 2001. Sadly, injuries stopped his playing career, deciding to walk away from the game after an injury-riddled freshman campaign. Playing career ended, Whitfield unearthed a profound interest that year, one that would later prove to alter the course of his life. Fast feet inspired Rischad. Ocho Cinco inspired me, Whitfield said. He's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, but dudes can't cover him. They're scared of his feet. You watch videos of Ocho Cinco back in Miami Gardens working out, quick cone drills, quick ladder drills, a lot of stuff working on his feet. Footwork is the foundation. Well, Rischad Whitfield went on to become the Footwork King, a man you know today who has graduated with a BA in kinesiology from that University of Houston. The Footwork King now trains, amongst others, current Bear David Montgomery and Roy Robertson-Harris, but also first-round receiver in this draft CD Lamb, Courtney Davis, Sayo Olonilua, who will also be moving on to the NFL. So let's meet him. It's my pleasure to introduce the Footwork King. Thanks for coming on today, Rischad, and welcome to the Bears Barroom Network.
Oh, thank you for having me, man. Appreciate you guys.
Well, no worries at all. We're really pleased to have you, Rischad, and I hope you like the intro. A bit of mathematics from Most Def in the background, and a little bit of a sort of a précis based upon what got you from there to here. And that journey that you've been on yourself is one that obviously you've got a lot of experience in being able to guide young athletes right the way through to current pros. And I understand you've been working with one today that we should be interested in.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I just got through working out with Roy Robertson-Harris, defensive end for the Bears. Right now he's getting a stretch session in with one of the physical therapist ladies out here. But we just finished putting in some work. Just working on some movement stuff with him, and he's just staying ready in preparation for the upcoming season.
Well, for a man of his size, I mean, 6'7", 280, he moves pretty well already. I mean, is that the product of working with you for a season, or?
Well, yeah, he's been working with me, and also one of the best defensive line coaches out here, Brandon Jordan. He works, so when Roy sees me, he works. Movement. We're also working on like bending, because being able to bend is one of the biggest factors for a defensive lineman. So I'll work on all that type of stuff. Just movement in tight areas. So,
well, that change of direction is something which is absolutely
be able to move in tight spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as a defensive end, that. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. It's huge for defensive end and edge rusher. A lot of these running backs. Like guys like David Montgomery, man. I mean, to be able to just to contain a guy like that, man, you got to just be, you got to have good bend. You got to play quick. Excellent agility. So you got to be flexible, short area quickness, and all that type of stuff. So I'm working on all that with Roy right now.
Well, I mean, he's certainly been showing that on the field, and I'm glad that the Bears extended him. I mean, obviously a restricted rights free agent, so he was getting extended that way. Hopefully that becomes a long-term deal with Roy Robertson-Harris, because for me, he's one of the ascending players that we've got on the Bears defensive line, and I'm pleased that he's working with you, and he's obviously extremely interested in honing his craft, not only in terms of footwork and being able to dip and get around that edge with nice fast feet and change direction skills to be able to sort of counter and go inside, spin moves, all of that sort of stuff will obviously translate well from the work that he does with you. But the fact that he's also working on his sort of his hand usage and things like that with the other coach that you mentioned, that's all really encouraging stuff, because unless you're working, you're not really progressing, are you? And I think that's one of the things that is one of your 3 rules. Would you like to run through your 3 rules with us, please, Rischad?
Yeah, I have 3 rules, man. As soon as and every athlete knows when they get in here, man, just be laser focused. Just give me, I need like laser, be locked in. Because when we get on the field, we start working. It's a grind, but they learn a lot of stuff. A lot of information is getting explained to them, and then we work everything that I'm talking about. What helps me out is the fact that I train a bunch of positions, and by me training in every position, I know what type of movement that athlete needs at his position, and to be quicker, be more elusive, be more agile, just to be overall the best athlete they can be at that position. At their position. So and guys like he has those springy movement skills. When he's out there, I got to make sure he's able to to convert his speed to stun blockers and chase down ball carriers, So that's one thing I work with Roy on. It's pretty cool, man, working with big guys like that on that, because it's rare to see those guys, move like that. You're used to seeing those guys come off the edge, just being productive pass rushers and with power and shooting hands and swatting hands. But when he's out here, when I get a hold of him, I take it to a totally different level. I'm like, all right, guys. Let's take the pass rush stuff out of it. Let's think about we got to get ready to chase down running backs. Running backs change directions very quickly. Running backs cut back very quickly. Therefore, we got to make sure we got loose hips, feet inside our body frame, and get to the point, get to the spot before they, whenever they cut back, we got to cut back too. So I'm trying to make him just an overall efficient mover on the field.
Well, I mean, it's definitely easier to stop a running back after 3 yards than it is after 60. Speaking from experience there. So it's always nice if you get him in the backfield before they get running. Absolutely. So I mean, that's something that certainly it triggers my the beating heart that still is inside this 46-year-old former player. It's something that definitely fires me up watching what you've done there. But Roy Robertson-Harris is someone that I don't know if you've seen his work when he was at UTEP. There's a play where he's playing left outside linebacker, and he rushes around the edge, gets into the backfield, but the play cuts back and away from him and goes down the sideline. And I kid you not, sort of 65, 70 yards later, he's chased down that running back and tackles him inside the 10. And that effort is something that has translated well from Roy Robertson-Harris, but he's bulked up since then. So it's really encouraging that he's working with you as hard as he is, and he's able to show that quickness on the field. Hopefully that translates into, some added sacks and pressures and tackles for loss and things like that. And he can get his payday.
It will. Oh yeah, it's going to translate. I can tell him too. I was going to translate because he's working his ass off. So sorry for my language, but he's been working really hard. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I train Roy and Daniil Hunter. Daniil plays for the Vikings, defensive end. So those guys train together. Daniil's a 14, 15 sack defensive end, and they push each other where we're out here, and I challenge them. So I know the way Roy's working right now. Oh man. He's gonna be making a lot of stops in the run game. That's for sure. He's gonna be hell in the passing game as well. I mean, I've been out here watching Roy, bending on the edge. I'm watching him, work on counter moves with Coach Brandon Jordan as a pass rusher. I mean, he's a lot twitchier now, a lot quicker. I watched him do an inside outside counter move with Coach Brandon Jordan. It was awesome, And then with me, just his first step quickness is gonna be great. Just his ability to move in tight spaces, be flexible, be able to bend. So I can't wait to see, it all put together. Just kind of waiting, counting down. We get to figure out, because they can't work out anywhere right now at the facility. So I'll stay busy. I'm staying really busy right now.
Well, it's great. What I love about what you're doing as well is that you work with high schoolers, and that the product of that is seen in what you've done this year with, C.D. Lamb and Courtney Davis. I understand you've been working with them since 9th and 10th grade, and I know you're working with high schoolers now. I commend you for that because clearly they don't have as deep pockets as an NFL player would, but it's a commitment, and it's an investment by you into what they can become in the future, and I absolutely commend you for that, because so many times these days people will just commit their money to what earns them the most money, but clearly you want people to develop and to become the best that they can, and that's something that drives you from looking from the outside in.
Yeah.
So one of the first questions, Chachi asks, how does the proper footwork translate to finishing in the pocket? What are the focus areas been working on with Roy Robertson-Harris, and how do you expect that to impact his performance? So it's a 3-4.
Oh well, a lot of those guys, a lot of those edge rushers, they're heavy-footed. They work with their feet outside their body frame a lot. So footwork is very important. Like all the footwork that I do for him is the mechanics behind the footwork. So, Roy has to be able to move efficiently on the field, like whether he's going laterally, diagonally, horizontally, or he's changing directions. So that right there is going to help out. Think about it. Say Roy's coming up he's a D tackle. You got guys like maybe Lamar Jackson. Matter of fact, first game of the season, they played Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson is a very good athlete once the pocket breaks down. Therefore, when Deshaun Watson decides not to throw the ball and runs it, Roy has to be just as athletic as Deshaun Watson. Roy needs to be able to cut, You see these quarterbacks, like I saw Lamar Jackson do it. I see Deshaun Watson do it a lot. They run by these front four linemen, So I want to make sure Roy can be a run stopper, And a lot of times it's just about being able to have quick, efficient footwork as a D lineman, but there's a lot of functional creativity in my drills that I do with these guys. But every movement that we do has a purpose, and started to right now, it's night and day, man. I mean, it's something that people shy away from working with the big guys. With the big guys, they want them to lift and just, you got to be strong, but you also got to be able to move. You want to be just as athletic. Yeah, you got to be able to you have to be able to be athletic and be able to be able to move in tight areas. Everything we're doing is really to be able to move in tight areas. Because he already has a non-stop motor and he plays with a lot of aggression already. He's a big hitter, but I told Roy, man, your first I mean, you got to have a pass rush mentality. Your first rush is pass. Your first mentality is pass rush first. You know, pass rush first, Roy. But when it's when they decide to, all right, I'm decided to run. Now you got to be able to be a smart read and react player. You know, who isn't fooled by any.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly for every defensive and offensive lineman, the most important thing is that first step off the ball. You've got to be across the line of scrimmage as a defensive lineman, and you've got to be in the face of the offensive player to upset his plans, whatever those plans are.
Even when he blitzes.
Yeah.
Well, even when Roy pass rushes, it's usually a first step. You know, Roy's first step got to be faster, quicker than the offensive lineman's first step. That's how a lot of times, you know, Roy ever get that edge on those guys like that, he's gonna be fine. You know,
with his length as well. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Doesn't matter how strong you are. If you don't have your feet under you, you're not going to be able to translate that into anything. So our next question comes from Stingray, who's another contributor to the Bears Barroom. He listens in regularly. He asks you, how long does it usually take for players to get footwork down at each level? Right. So, you know, high schoolers, collegiate players, and NFL players. How long typically working with you are you looking at before you're feeling happier about where they are?
Well, people think that all my pro guys come in here with excellent footwork. They really don't. When they leave here, they come with excellent footwork, you know. But everything that I do, like if people look at the footwork stuff, you know, so everything we do, if you see some octagons or some cones, if I take those cones and those octagons out, that player, the athlete is going to be able to move the way he's supposed to move at his position. You know, so everything works. So usually, you know, if I got a high school kid, you know, these guys come out here pretty regular. So, you know, you get about a month, you know, month and a half or two, you know, coming out here 2 to 3 times a week, each week, you're starting to see it progress. You know, some take longer than others, but it all depends. With pro guys, they usually take about the third or fourth session to kind of grasp hold of it, and then we start seeing progress.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Is with any new skill that you're learning, and that includes footwork, I'm guessing, is you need to commit it to muscle memory. So at the moment, initially, you're probably thinking and processing a lot with what you're trying to do mechanically with your feet. The kinesiology of it, the angles of your legs, where your hips have got to be, where your body weight needs to be, you know, your toe angle, your foot angle, the bend in your legs, keeping your back straight, your head up, all those sort of things are all foreign to the human condition, but for football, they've got to be automatic.
All the different for football.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I do a lot of things to where it comes second. I do a lot of things where, it becomes second nature to them. So everything I do, you know, I try to rip it out to where they don't think about it. Now it becomes second nature, you know. Yeah. That's what we're doing with a lot of these guys. It's a challenge with big guys, but I'm able to do it.
So can you get them practicing their sack dances as well? Because I mean, presumably it's going to translate to that as well. Another question we've had is: can teams contract you to work with them, or is it just individuals who come to you?
Oh, just individuals. Like I train every year. I've been training Le'Veon for Bayliss for the last 5 years. I train Odell Beckham. I've been training David Montgomery for 3 years. Danielle Hunter for 3 years. Dare Slade for 3 years, Sherman for 2 years, Xavier Howard for 4 years. So it's all contracted through them, the players. They all reach out to me either Instagram or via Twitter. And once they get with me, they're with me every offseason. And that's kind of why I'm training a lot of them right now, because they're not able to go to the facilities and work and stuff like that. So a lot of the guys I'm working with right now.
Well, when that's
it's just easy. Oh, go ahead.
And I was just going to say, with regards to seeing your facility as well, I like the fact you've got an end zone, so there's always a point to finish. You know, every drill is sort of heading towards that. And even as a defensive player, you can have that mindset, you know, scoop and score, or, you know, pick it off and score.
Yeah, I got 60 yards in length or field. You know, and the big guys, I got them running down there in the field, you know, just to be conditioned. You know, you never know. So I try to make sure it's a game time situation for them. So, you know, you never know. So I make sure we'll do some.
Well, it's definitely more productive time than playing Call of Duty.
Yes. It really is. Yeah, you got to stay active. And, you know, and I want these guys, I really want them to be the best they can be. And, you know, it's nothing better than me than watching these guys, you know, just being able to put the work in out here and then watching it translate on game day. You know, it's awesome. It's crazy because a lot of the guys that I train, they always play each other. Like I trained Joe Hayden. We have to play Odell Beckham twice a year. So the things I'm doing with Odell is to get past Joe Hayden. And the things I'm doing with Joe Hayden is to, you know, cover Odell. You know, so it's crazy. I don't have a team, a favorite team. I just vote from. I'm a fan of my players that I train, and you know, I was looking forward to every season. You know, watching them guys compete out there.
Well, I'm really pleased that two Bears have already bought into what it is that you're doing. But one of the questions I wanted to ask you, Rischad, if it's okay, is looking back at where you started the venture from, and that must have been really daunting for you. How pleased are you with where you've got to? And how pleased are you with the job you've been able to do with your clients from high school through to like draftees like C.D. Lamb, Courtney Davis, and Sayo?
Yeah, man, this has been great, man, because, oh, man, I'm doing a lot better than a lot of people projected, man. And I never dreamed of like, okay, I want to be football's always my passion, but I just see things a lot different than others. And even Richard Sherman was like, man, it's like you got a gift. I don't know if you know it, but it's a gift. So if you sit in a session with me, and the way I do things, the way I break things down, the way I make it translate, you know, a lot of people are just really intrigued by it, but it's functional. And you can apply it on the field. And it's crazy how much I've just grown, but I don't – sometimes it's really surreal, you know, because now I get calls from all sorts of top pro guys, and it's just like, you know, you're not really shocked anymore, you know. Like, you know, I've been doing this for, you know, for about 10 years now, but it's man, the growth has been great. Man, if you asked me, did I see myself right here 5 years ago, I wouldn't lie to you. I didn't. You know, I just thought, you know, I just love what I do. I never get tired of it, and it's just there's nothing better than just, you know, getting an athlete like he's just a ball of clay, and then just kind of fixing him up, you know. And I take a lot of pride in it. You know, a lot of the guys they call me they say I'm like a blacksmith. And I actually told another news person this. They say like what I do is I take the skills that these guys already have, you know, and it's just like a blacksmith, you know. I take their skills, I put them in the fire, take them out the fire, you know, the impurities off of them, give it back to them. Now they're lethal, you know. So that's kind of how I do things. You know, I'll take these guys, God-given skills that they're blessed with, and then I sharpen them to a point where I don't think any other trainer or coach can get them to the point where I can get them. You know, I'll push a high school kid as just as hard as I push a pro guy, and you know, I expect greatness, you know, because, you know, me, even Roy will tell you, like, when he's out there playing, I mean, me and your name's out there. Your name and my name is on the back of your jersey. So,
absolutely,
you know, yeah, so I train with high expectations, and, you know, but the results definitely come with it. You know, it doesn't come with it. We work hard out here, and I'm proud, blessed to get to this point. So I just want to continue to bless others out here.
Anybody who watches the players that you've worked with, you know, in terms of where they start from, and this is the thing that for me, it must be really encouraging to have top NFL players contacting you saying, help me get better. But equally, it must be absolutely amazing for you to have the satisfaction of working with a C.D. Lamb and a Courtney Davis from high school and seeing them to the verge where now they're looking at being a first-round pick in the NFL draft. I mean, to take someone from high school...
There's actually four of them, actually. So I work with C.D. Lamb, Courtney Davis, and Caleb Von Tyson from LSU.
Oh, yeah.
And Shaywall Lanalua. So those are the four guys I've been working with since high school.
There's definitely two first-round picks there.
Yeah. There's the two first-round. Courtney's getting a sleeper first-round, a third. It's weird because they got some guys that are for Courtney. They got some guys that I'm like, man, Courtney played in the SEC West and he dominated. He did a very, very, very good job, you know, against some stout teams every year he played. So it's kind of weird having some guys from Oregon State that they got ahead of. You know, like, I don't know. It's just a different brand of football out there, you know. And I mean, I think the SEC honestly prepares you more than anything for the NFL, but I know for a fact, like C.D. Lamb could play anything. He's an animal. C.D.'s an animal. You know, he could play in the SEC. He's just like that. you know. But I just
Tyree Cleveland as well, isn't there?
Tyree as well. He's another. You know, and it sucks because of the fact like Tyree was a product of, you know, the quarterback you had over there, you know, at Florida. You know, I mean, it's because you got first round talent, but you don't have that throwing you the ball. You know, Courtney did what he can do with the guys he had. But it's tough. But they're going to be fine. They're going to be good pros.
There's
three all the time. They're going to be really good pros.
I mean, there's three good receivers that are coming out of Florida, and it doesn't show in terms of production. And that's when you watch them on tape, though. You know, great footwork, good releases, and good receivers. So it's great that you're working with them.
Oh yeah, Tyree Cleveland and Van Jefferson are studs. I mean, I'm like, if somebody was like, hey, Rischad, give me your list of receivers who you think, who you know would be successful in the NFL. And I would give you, like, I would take 5 of those guys that are on the top. Wouldn't even, a lot of guys wouldn't be on my.
I think you could probably add Freddie Swain to that list as well.
Yeah, you can add him. Yep.
So
you can add him.
We've got some questions we've got some questions from our chat room, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, so one of the questions we have from Bear Truth 9 is, what are your thoughts on David Montgomery's work ethic and his mentality, and what improvements have you seen in his running style?
Oh my gosh, it's the Chicago Bears. I'll tell you right now, I don't know if y'all know this yet, but the Chicago Bears, if everybody listening, y'all have the best running back in the NFL because there's not much he can't do. His contact balance is unreal. His vision is unreal. His instinct is unreal. He's strong. He's powerful. He's determined. If you put him at receiver, he can't be guarded. I don't think Coach Nagy understands what he has with David Montgomery. You know, and even Roy Robertson and I mean, they're like, you got to let David loose. You know, you can't expect him to do much with 8 carries a game. David, just like any other running back, all running backs get better. The more carries they get, the better they get. And David was, you know, sometimes he'll get a few carries, sometimes he'll get, you know, the games that they really gave him the football, David did very good. I think the Chargers is one. What other game? I think the Eagles, I think they gave him the ball a lot. He did good. Maybe the Broncos as well.
The Dallas Cowboys, he played well against the Cowboys.
Yes, very good. Yes, against the Cowboys. And it's like, to be 5'10", 200-something pounds, and as twitchy as David is very rare. He's extremely powerful. Extremely powerful. He's a stud.
The thing that I don't know if this and this is a free advertisement opportunity for you here, Rischad, is that he doesn't seem to slow down when he makes cuts, and his body angle is always consistent and you know, great body lean, and his lateral agility is just ridiculously good. His change of direction skills, in terms of, he doesn't seem to slow down when he's making a cut. Is that something
which is very rare?
Yeah, I mean that stop start as well is unheralded, in terms of that's something that is a real critical ability, I think, for skill position players on offense, is the ability to stop and start, but also to be able to do things at speed. I mean, those are two very different skills. How do you train those?
So I got some videos I got to send you of David, of us kind of doing stuff what I do for is quickness and foot speed and stuff. So I do a lot of things we do with David. Like, you know, to me he's a very elite start running. You know, he's just got one of those guys. He's one of those guys that, you know, he has the ability to stop and then rev his engine up and get right back to full speed. But so what I do is I do a lot of things with David with the octagon, speed ladder stuff to work on, you know, foot speed, bounce, body control, and then I also do a lot of stuff that works on his change directions. I put a couple cones there, make him go full speed, change directions, back full speed again, change directions. But then once I get his footwork and change directions, work his hips, work his body control and all that type of stuff, I start putting trash cans out, which simulates bodies, like if he's in a game. And then everything I do after is straight reactionary. But if you're at one of my training sessions with David Montgomery, the things that we do, that I do, that are so they're reactionary, they're so fast, they're so quick, that it's just like if David's in the game. So I was like, David, a stretch play, outside zone, whatnot. Figure the outside zone, David. You get the ball, we take it outside, but David, it's not open over there. You got a guy there. So what are you going to do next? All right, David, we can't. Let's not try to run them. All right, you're not going to have long spell, David, plus. And we can't crawfish out of it. So I'll work with stuff with David. Okay, let your eyes move your feet. All right, let your eyes move your feet. React quick, you know. So if that hole open, boom, we gotta go. Close up, boom, go to the next one. You know, and he did. And David's always been that guy who was able to play with the offense. He didn't really have that good of an offensive line his last 2 years at Iowa State. So it wasn't really a big deal for him when he went to the Bears. You know, because the offensive line was all right. It wasn't that bad, but it was all right. But he was still able to work.
The offensive line is a bone of contention here in Chicago. I mean, we had a number of injuries on that offensive line. We had a lack of consistency, but we also had a lot of play calling that maybe wasn't sympathetic to reserves coming in. We felt that and the bar room, most of us felt that maybe putting a few more extra big bodies on that offensive line and extra tight ends on the field and a fullback in front of David might have actually helped get not only the run game going but also play action off the back of that. But it seemed all too often that coaching wise that we made decisions other than that. So it's a bit of a bone of contention, but it's fantastic that you're speaking so positively about David, and that's absolutely firing up our chat room. They're feeling really psyched about the season now, so thank you for that. And please, if you do have video to share with us, please tag us in that. I'm sure all Bears fans would love to watch that.
And the thing is, we work on things that if I ever get a chance to talk to Coach Nagy, and I think hopefully this year, I'm like, you drafted David third round for a reason, but you can have David Montgomery and you find a way to use Tyreek Hill. I'm not sorry. Not Tyreek, but Tyreek, on the same time. I'd keep both of those guys on the field. Make these teams pick your poison. So I think it's David has to get the ball 15 plus times a game, maybe 5 receptions a game. Oh man, you'll win every game. The dude doesn't get tired. I'm telling you, the guy does not get tired. He's not easy to bring down. That's the thing. His balance after the contact is unreal. And he's very shifty. If you watch him, the first guy never gets a clean hit on him. Ever.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he got the ring out of your shoes agility. I'm telling you.
He's gonna cause some groin strains.
Yeah, and I think people. I told David this. I go, David, I don't think people understand like the way his foot speed. He can set you up. It's just like, man, every game I'm waiting for Nagy to unleash him. And then Nagy unleash him a little bit, and he'll pull back the next game. Oh, my God.
We're all right with you. I'm sure the defense are right with you as well. I'm sure they'd like to see Matt Nagy maybe let him loose a little bit more. But some other questions I've got for you. In terms of, other than Chad Ochocinco, who else's footwork impressed you? You look at it and you're like, wow.
Yeah, Darius Slay, Xavier Howard. Well, the cornerbacks always got really good feet because they do everything backwards. So doing everything in reverse as a cornerback is hard. And Darius Slay is just one of those ones. I mean, you see why he's one of the highest paid defensive backs since, not just with technique and leverage and all that, but Slay literally can run a receiver's route going backwards in his pedal. I mean, he's just that elite. I mean, the smoothest feet. I mean, his feet never leave the ground unless he's running. But if he's not running, his feet just skim the turf. They got very loose hips. Slay's just amazing to me. And Odell Beckham also.
I'm glad Slay is out of the NFC North now. After speaking about him like that.
Oh, yeah. So, you know what? Yeah. Because I think he had 3 interceptions this year. Yeah, I think he did in that game. I think Mitchell threw 2 picks.
Yeah, he did. It's another kind of contention here in Chicago. Do you work with O-linemen as well? Because I mean, obviously that footwork is a lot different. It's got to be a lot heavier feet, hasn't it?
Yeah, I will have my Trent Brown will be my first O-lineman I work with, and I work at high school O-lineman. I just do But Trent Brown, he plays for the Raiders. He will be my first O-lineman that I train, my first pro O-lineman that I work with.
Well, let's see if we can get Roy Rob to maybe get some of the Bears linemen down there working with you, because I think we could use a bit of that on the offensive line at the Chicago Bears. So do you work with quarterbacks as well? Because that's another position group. I haven't seen that many videos of them, but again, very specialised footwork, not only in terms of drops, but also escapability and keeping the hips square to the line of scrimmage, that sort of thing.
Yeah. So I do a lot of stuff for high school quarterbacks. I don't have any college quarterbacks, but I do work with a lot of high school quarterbacks, and it's just I do a lot of movement within the pocket. I don't work on their drop steps but I do a lot of things where, okay, it's in the pocket, the pressure comes, and they got to escape. Boom! Can they get there? Can they flip their hip to get their feet back set quickly? So I work on a lot of that type of stuff, because they got to be efficient movers in the pocket. So footwork is very important for quarterbacks as well.
So one of the other questions we got for you is, how many weeks would it take for players to get season ready, in your view, if a lockout goes all the way to September? I guess the guys who are working with you all the time, it's going to be probably a little bit short for that, isn't it? Shorter than it would be for people who aren't working out with you.
Yeah, but it's crazy. I just about got all my guys, headed back pretty soon. The guys that need to come in early are the running back, the defensive back, and the D lineman. The guys that can actually wait a little bit longer are the receivers.
Yeah, because they're always going sort of like running routes, aren't they? So their aerobic abilities probably a bit better.
Yeah, and there's more you got to get. There's more movements that you got to really work with the running back, the defensive back, and D lineman just an O lineman, because one, they got to get in shape. Hopefully they don't get out of shape, but deep corners, you just got the movement that you got to work with those guys. So you got to make sure you don't miss anything with them. You got it's a lot of different various movements. The same thing a running back. So you got to get your body moving back in a unorthodox kind of way.
One of the things that I was encouraged, obviously we're talking about sort of guys and their aerobic abilities, and that's one of the things that I think is interesting in the fact that you seem to be working with, of late, more defensive linemen, and obviously you've got your first offensive lineman. I know you work with some high schoolers that, sort of offensive tackles and things like that as well. But one of the things that I'm a little bit surprised of is that more defensive and offensive linemen aren't taking you up, because that sort of lateral agility and to be able to do that under bearing weight is absolutely key. And I'm sure that working with you, and correct me if I'm wrong, Rischad, working with you is going to only improve not only those quick twitch skills, but also the aerobic ability of being able to consistently be on the move and change direction without getting gassed and winded. Is that something you would encourage offensive and defensive linemen to work with?
That's another thing that I'm kind of trying to figure out as well. I should be loaded with O-linemen, because I might everything is about movement. Movement matters in football. A lot of times when you see a person get beat, it's probably because somebody moves better than the other. I wish they'd take the fast out of football. It's more so a quick game. It's quick and tight areas. If more O-linemen will work with me, I can get those guys back in their drop step so quick. But a lot of the O-line coaches are just so technical with them, man. But I'm like, they don't work the feet. I'm like, man, as long as I can work the feet and move and get from the dude, I'll be all right. I don't work the hands with the O-linemen, but I know I work their form and technique, and I work their lateral directional movement. I can do that, and everything's just foot speed. Even when I'm doing it myself, I can kick slide, move lateral, kick slide again. I do it very quick, and I think that's what they gotta have. You play offensive tackle, a defensive end so push you vertical. You gotta jump back in that kick slide quick.
I think it's equally important as guard and centre as well, because these days, there's more and more teams running sort of inside-outside zone plays where that movement is key, in terms of switching off between one lineman and another and getting to the second level and breaking down, staying square and in front of your defender. That lateral agility, the one thing that always gets you beat as an offensive lineman is dead feet. And that's something that you see so often in terms of when they give up an easy win on a pass rush or something like that. It's because someone's gone literally gone one way and gone straight across the face, and their feet are dead. And the last thing that you'd want is someone who's consistently holding people, and that's always a trait of someone who's got slow feet. Is someone who's consistently getting into trouble with holding. So anyone who's getting holding penalties, anyone who's getting someone outside of the frame of their body, you need to work with the Footwork King to make sure you've got your feet keeping up with the guy in front of you. So, use that as an advert.
It's all mirroring. It's all mirroring, though. It's all mirroring. Like, I look at O-linemen. I'm like, O-linemen, y'all are like defensive backs. The defensive linemen are like receivers because receivers attack the defensive backs. Defensive backs are just patient, letting them come to them. O-linemen do the same thing, They really don't do a lot of attacking the D-linemen. And the issue is it's all movement. I was looking at a guy like Ed. I mentioned Ed in high school. Ed, I knew Ed beats all these these centers and these guards all the time because Ed moves a lot quicker than a lot of those guys. Ed is very nimble. He's like a running back and D-lineman. And Ed's first two steps, pop, man. Those O-linemen, man, he can take them out and take them back in. Their feet aren't quick enough to get back there and Ed to beat them all.
Well, the one thing that's an advertisement for it. Yeah, I'm completely lockstep with you, Rischad, because if you look at all of the elite offensive linemen in NFL history, what have they all had? Great feet. In terms of, when you think about Orlando Pace when he was at his height, his footwork for a man of that size was unreal. And when you look, when you look at Long, Joe Thomas at the Cleveland Browns, his footwork was unreal. The guy can stay in front and he uses power, but it's about keeping square and keeping in front of your man with your hips nice and low and being able to drive through him. And if you don't have your base under you, you can't do it. So I'm encouraged that high schoolers are clearly getting the message and they're coming and working with you. But it's going to take I'm a little bit sort of surprised that collegiate offensive linemen and more NFL offensive linemen aren't working with you. But like I say,
I do have some guys going into college, though. I got some guys that play O-line that I work with that are going into college. I got one going to Rice that I work with. I got two that are going to A&M that I work with. So I do got some that are going into college. I got one that's going to Davidson College in North Carolina. So I got a lot of high school kids I work with that have scholarships.
Oh, I'm not surprised because if they got the footwork from you, they're going to get a scholarship, aren't they?
Yeah, because you know what? When I think about it, all my O-linemen that I train have scholarships. And one thing that all the coaches like to say about them is they move very well.
That's something as well that a coach might want to know is the fact that people are taking time to come to you to work on their craft. And sort of the reason why they've got those feet, coach, is because he comes in his own time and comes and works with me. So that tells you a lot about this kid's intent.
Yeah, they really want, and then what happens is any scheme, that any offense, whether it's heavy run, pass, throw, spread, these kids can play in. Because I tell a lot of the coaches as well, like I don't work on schemes and all that. So whatever scheme they're in, whether they're cornerback, whether you're receiver, running back, whatever kind of offense they be playing, I work it so my boys can play in anything.
Well, I'm so pleased that you've been on with us for 45 minutes and it's been enjoyable every single minute, Rischad. We've loved having you. So do you have a message for us Bears fans in terms of the guys that are working with you and what we can expect from the next year and also what we can expect to see from you coming forward in the future?
Oh yeah, well yeah. I know for a fact that the Bears will not be disappointed with David Montgomery and Roy Robertson-Harris this season because I can vouch for you right now. Those guys have been working 23 days a week, every week since this coronavirus thing has been going on. Those guys are ready. They're laser focused. They're gonna play with a bunch of energy this season. I mean, I can't wait to watch them. I've been following the Bears season. I hope he has a way they can get Courtney Davis over there, man. He'd be a huge impact for the team. He's what they need. Big play receiver.
Okay, so which is obviously you're following the Bears in terms of the team. So which is your favorite Bears radio network? Hint, hint.
Oh, y'all are the only ones that I've ever talked to. So y'all are my favorite, and I'm the type of person who the first person I talk to, that's the one I stay with. No back and forth for me when it comes to. So y'all will be my favorites. Y'all are the first ones to reach out to me. Y'all took a check. Y'all gave me the opportunity to speak about the guys that I work with, the guys that are part of the Bears. So I thank you guys for that. Y'all are my favorites.
Well, I mean, please bear us in mind that sort of next year. I mean, what we'd love to do with you is to talk about sort of collegiate athletes as you're working with them in the season. We have a show called Draft on Tap, which is excellent, where we follow collegiate athletes. I obviously look at the off season for the Bears and sort of what we're doing in terms of free agency and also in terms of draft. So I'm always looking for who the people that I should be looking at on the collegiate level that are going to be coming towards either declaring as juniors or coming out as seniors into the NFL draft. So please, any inside information you have to share with me, I'll be willing to accept that and keep it on the down low.
Oh yeah, I can definitely help you out with that. I usually train for guys that declare they're always top picks every year. It's been great. It's been a blessing. So I'll definitely keep you. I definitely will keep you in the loop for that each and every year. And that won't be an issue at all.
I'm sure we'd love to have you on as well again if that's okay. But at some point in the future.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it's really encouraging to hear the work you're doing with Roy Robertson-Harris and David Montgomery. And with that, thank you very much, Rischad. It's been a pleasure speaking to you, and bear down.
Likewise. Thank you, sir.
There you go, Aldo. What do you think apart from the phone line?
Terrible line, too bad. But Rischad is definitely one of our favorite guests. He has so much passion for what he does, so much knowledge, and for him to come on our airwaves and talk about David Montgomery in the manner in which he talked, and basically letting Matt Nagy know that he needs to do what we've been saying here at Bears Barroom for the past year, is get that kid the ball. He is a stud, and there's no reason whatsoever that David Montgomery shouldn't be touching that ball 20 times, at least 15 rushes, 5 pass receptions, and so it was good to get acknowledgement from a guy like Rischad. Great interview.
Not just the Bears Barroom saying it, we've got the Footwork King saying it as well.
Well, exactly. That's the point there. Exactly. He was confirming what we've been saying for quite some time. And you know what? And he would be a great guest to have after the draft 100%. Because he's worked with so many of the top level guys. He's worked with the safety who, the more and more I start looking at the board and the way it falls, is that safety Grant Delpit of LSU could be available there at 43 or 50 for the Chicago Bears. There's been a lot of talk about him dropping because he had a poor tackling year. He was moved to the free safety position, and he had some adjustment issues with the tackling, and his tackles not only fell down, but also his interceptions, which you would have expected would have risen playing the free safety position, went from, I think, 4 to 2 or something like that. So Grant Delpit could be in the Bears' sights, because I think if the Bears watch that sophomore tape of Grant Delpit, you know that this guy is a football player and will be great in a Chicago Bears uniform.
Oh, he can definitely play. He's definitely one that would be worth around a second-round grade. But for me, Aldo, in the safety position and the type of safeties that we need, I think there are guys that are also going to be available later in the draft as well. So if there is a position that maybe we have a greater need on, then I think we can still get a starting quality safety, even in the 5th round this year, for the type of safety we need to complement Eddie Jackson. Mm-hmm. I think there are going to be guys that are there. I just want to give our listeners, Aldo, as well, now that we've finished that interview, a bit of context. He was working with Roy Robertson-Harris on his little field in a residential area, 60-yard field, with cars in a residential area in Houston immediately before coming on. So there was a little bit of interference, there was a bit of issue with his phones, but he took the time out of his day while he's got athletes there ready to work with him, and literally came straight off the field to speak with us at the Barroom Network, his favourite radio network that covers the Chicago Bears. You heard it from the man himself. So just wanted to give a bit of context on the fact that, we do thank Rischad, despite the patchy quality of the phone line. That's to be expected. I'm just so grateful he took the time out literally immediately after coming off the field with Roy Robertson-Harris to speak to us.
Absolutely. And we're talking about safeties. I put up a poll earlier today, and I asked the question, if one of these 4 safeties was available at the number 50 slot, who would you take? We got about 200 votes, and 52% or 53% said Antoine Winfield Jr., 31% Jeremy Chin, 7% Kyle Duggar, and 8% Ashton Davis. What do you think about those poll numbers, and do you agree with them?
I'm not surprised with the poll numbers because Antoine Winfield obviously has got the lineage and he's got the second round hype that people are speaking about. Jeremy Chin obviously from a lower level of competition. But when you looked at Jeremy Chin at the Senior Bowl and in his sort of post-season bowl games where he's got the all-star type games, he did not look out of place. In fact, he looked like one of the fastest secondary players on the field in every situation. That was at 6'3" and 220 pounds. He is an athletic phenomenon. His production on the ball in terms of interceptions is better than that of Winfield Jr. So for me, he was the vote that I actually put in there was for Jeremy Chin, because that guy in our backfield with the size and the speed that he has, get him playing close to the line of scrimmage and behind Roquan Smith and Danny Trevathan and that offensive line, you can blitz him off the edge. He's going to be able to run with anybody. Physically, he's 6'3", so he's not going to be fazed by running alongside tight ends. So for me, he's a bigger mismatch piece and has more upside than Winfield Jr. I'm not sure how much more upside Winfield Jr. has, just by virtue of the fact that he's clearly been really well coached in terms of his footwork and everything else. But his production level is... He's more dependable, I guess. You're going to get less mess-ups with Winfield Jr. than you're probably going to get with year one in Chin. But with Chin, you're going to get a better athlete overall, and you're going to get someone who's quicker, bigger, faster, stronger, better hitter, better production on actually getting his hands on the ball and actually being able to take it the other way. So for me, that would be my choice. But obviously, I'm always down to have an argument or a discussion with anybody, and I'm willing to have my mind changed if you can show me the reason why.
Absolutely. All right, I am going to get our guy Fat Mike on the line. Fat Mike, of course, is the host of the new Bears Barroom Radio Network show, Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show. It's on Monday nights live on our Mixlr.com channel, and the podcast is out late Monday night, early Tuesday morning. I'm dialing them up now. I know you two guys want to have a cup of tea together and exchange.
Maybe a burger, Aldo.
There you go. It is past lunchtime here in Chicago.
Welcome, Fat Mike, a fellow P1 of the Kaplan Show on ESPN and various others, no doubt. How are you today, my friend?
Good. Just hanging back, listening to you, listening to everything going on in the sports world, keeping up on the Twitter machine and all the messages and all the other good stuff, and kicking ass on my end. How about yourself?
Well, some of the same, but obviously more pregnant pauses.
Yeah.
So great debut, Mike. I had a listen earlier today and thoroughly enjoyed the show. Can't wait to listen to you later on Chai Fans in the Stands, or tea fans as we call it over here in England. I'm just kidding, Chai Fans. Obviously, that's going to be a program which is going to sort of fit right in with yourself with so many subjects you covered. I couldn't believe you even covered some golf yesterday.
Oh man, I'm a diehard golf fan, huge golf guy. I think I was explaining a little bit last night. I fell in love with golf when I went to the British Open, the Western Open out here over at a little course called Cog Hill, which is supposed to be it's one of the toughest courses in Illinois, one of the top 10 hands down. And I was there as a kid, and I watched Tiger Woods tee off from there. And like I said last night, everything off the tee, I was maybe 15, 25 feet away from him. Everything sounded like it was firing out of a cannon. So, yeah, I am an avid golf fan. I do watch a lot of golf. There's nothing better for me on a Sunday afternoon when there's no football on than to sit and watch a championship round of golf, watch those guys do something that I cannot do. So it's pretty impressive.
So, I mean, obviously on the Bearlissimo show, we focus on the Chicago Bears. So thinking about the draft, which is coming up, we're going to have one more show between now and the draft of Bearlissimo. So looking at that draft, are there any sort of picks that you obviously want to go? I know offensive line is a bugbear of yours. Is that where you see us going round two, or where else you see it going?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a diehard Bear fan. I bleed navy and orange, and that's the problem is because I'm a realist, and I like to talk from a fan standpoint. I'm tired of what's going on with this team, and I definitely believe that it starts up front. This O-line is terrible. So without trading up, trading down, yada, 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 if we stick with what we have, the 43 and the 50, I like that kid Lloyd Cushenberry. That center out of LSU, big, strong, 6'4", 315 pounds. It's a lot of weight to move. He's good. He's just a solid player there as a center. And I think that would be a huge fit on that Bears offensive line. At the 50 pick, I like that John Simpson kid out of Clemson, the guard. Again, 6'4", 330 pounds, big body, hard to move, good, nice off the snap counts. And he knows that he good run blocker, good pass blocker, so on and so forth. I like him.
I think that John Simpson is a little bit too high for me at 50. I mean, he's more of a sort of a fifth, sixth round. His feet are actually quite heavy-footed for a zone system, which is what we run. We're probably actually more suited for Cushenberry. You can kind of get away with because he does run a zone system at LSU. He definitely has the footwork to be able to get out and in front at the second level and even to be able to pull on traps and things like that from the centre position. But the Clemson guy, Simpson, he's a little bit sort of heavier, slower. He's more of a mauler, a body mover.
That's what I like. That's exactly what I like. I want that guy to sit there and grab and push over somebody. Yeah, we need power. That O-line's tissue paper thin, bro. Come on. You and I can get through that O-line right now.
Well, that's true, but that's not our scheme, Mike. We run a zone scheme, dude. So we need guys who can get out in front. So if you want an athlete who is falling in the draft, Tyler Badass or Badass, I'll call him Badass because that's how he plays. Tyler Badass from Ohio is a center that, if you're also looking for later round value, is apparently dropping due to injury concerns, and obviously with people not being able to do the testing that they would ordinarily do medically to check players, there's a possibility he might even be there sort of fifth, sixth round. And at that level, I mean, this guy was being spoken about as a top 40 candidate. Is that someone I've just sold you on, Mike, as a center or guard?
Yeah, I mean I like the ability to be able to run block, be able to pass block, because that's exactly what we need on this offensive line right now. We need the ability to pull on runs to the outside and quick run pass options and stuff like that. And that's what the Bears need. That's the scheme that we've built around here with Nagy here in the offense, and that's something that we definitely need on this offensive line.
So let's see how dialed in you are on the Chicago Bears and also the draft then, Mike. And I'm going to give you a bit of a test, a bit of a trial by fire. So which wide receiver would you like to see drafted by the Chicago Bears?
All right. So I like Mims a lot, but I don't think they have a chance at him at all. But I was looking at a couple late wide receivers, and I mean real late. One, I like Joe Reed out of Virginia, 5th round guy. He has good hands.
Good kick returner as well.
Exactly. Has very good hands. Averaged, just over 11 yards per catch last year. Had a nice, I think 7 or 8 touchdowns last year. Pretty good. 7 touchdowns is what he had. And he caught 77 balls. So that's as a senior. He's a senior coming in. And I also like real late, I'm thinking 6th, maybe 7th round, you can get away with him, is Quez Watkins out of Southern Miss. I like this kid. I've watched this kid. I've actually seen this kid play. This kid reminds me of a bigger Antonio Brown with blazing speed. You ever seen any of that kid?
Yeah, Quez Watkins. Yeah, he's both big and fast. So he's and he's quite rocked up as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
In terms of his build for a wide receiver, but a little bit of wasted movement at the top of his stem, but if you're going to limit his route tree and work on that as he's going into the season, so in other words, you're calling sympathetic routes for him to run in year 1 of the scheme, then there's a possibility you get some good production. So think of DK Metcalf type routes. He's your guy to be able to go down the field and go up and get it, back shoulder catches, those sorts of things.
He's a great 50-50 guy. He's a great 50-50 guy.
Yeah, so Joe Mandel is pushing out there that he's pimping out people to call in with voicemails for their choice of 43rd pick prediction on Chai fans in the stands. So, so we don't have a number, as Aldo's just pointed out. So what I'm sure we could be able to get them to either send a voice message or something like that via Twitter at is it Joe _ Mandel? So send it to his Facebook or Twitter, Joe Mandel. So if you search Joe Mandel, you find Joe. Obviously, there's Greg Braggs Jr. 23. I'm sure you'll be able to hit it on there, or at Shy Fans. At Joe Mandel for Joe. At Shy Fans. Is it at Shy Fans? At Shy Fans stands. Is the other Twitter. But yeah, so wide receivers, I like your pick. I mean, Denzel Mims, there's a possibility he makes it to round 2. And if he does, I think that would be the guy to get. But Quez Watkins is a good shout. Do you like Jalen Reagor?
Yeah, I mean, another guy, good speed, strength, upper body strength for sure. And he has really good hands, really fast off the ball. The very first snap, he's really quick off the ball and can beat a cornerback real easy. Yeah, I do like him.
And we've also heard from the Footwork King, another name that I think is well worth a consideration in one of the later rounds, and that's Tyree Cleveland. I mean, obviously he's known for that Hail Mary at Florida in his final game there, but the kid is not only quick, but he's big as well. So as a downfield threat, if you want a Denzel Mims type player, but later there isn't obviously Denzel Mims because there are very few wide receivers of any build or size that run a sub 4.4 and run a 6.66 3-cone, and translate that on the field with the blocking effort as well that he has on the exterior, which I love in a wide receiver. I love seeing a bit of effort on the exterior as well when it's a run play. That tells me that the guy just wants to win. But Tyree Cleveland's another good shout there.
Right. So, I also like Chase Claypool a lot too.
Well, I know Mitch will love to hear that. I'm not sure he's listening in today, but Mitch, I'm sure, will love to know that you like Chase Claypool. Obviously, Aldo is going to love that as well. Are you going to take him in the second round to be your gunner? That's the question. Are you gonna...
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sorry, Aldo. I know you're listening in. That's a bit of poking fun at Aldo there. I do apologise. Obviously, I've got to be very polite being a Brit, so we'll get that.
So
I
got a question for you. I like this safety cornerback defensive back, this Douglas Coleman III out of Texas Tech. What do you think about him? You think the Bears could probably get him late in the 6th?
You're digging deep there, aren't you? Haven't really scouted him, I'll be honest, Mike. So that tells me he's sort of a later round pick.
Definitely a later round pick, but definitely a ball hawk. He's 6'1", 200 pounds, big speedster. The guy had 8 interceptions down there this year in Texas Tech. I like the kid. I think he'd fit perfectly in the Bears system, and he's versatile. He can play cornerback, he can play safety, and he's good either way. They used him at both down there at Texas Tech. If you haven't given that guy a look, give him a look, because I think he can be something that the Bears can definitely get, and I think he's definitely doable in that 6th round pick. I'm thinking maybe like 196-ish, where that pick is at. I think that'd be a good fit for this Bears defense here too.
Well, that's definitely a look in terms of that kind of production in a year. Any level of collegiate football, that's impressive to have 8 picks in 1 year. So yeah, he's definitely going to be a guy that I'm going to take a look at. Now you've mentioned it, but that was one that you've caught me out. So how about that for a debut?
Yeah, he's a different type of character, that guy down there at Texas Tech. He's full of life, and he also does some kick return, but they play a lot of zone coverage down there at Texas Tech, and he fits right into that system really good. He's not a heavy hitter, but he's a decent tackler. He can make tackles, all that other good stuff, but that's a guy that I definitely like down there.
So yeah, I mean, you'll have to send me his name, and I'll see what tape I can dig up to have a look.
Yeah.
But, and I'll give you a scouting report as well. I am human. I am in the future. I didn't see that one coming. I know Greg Braggs is going to be stunned by that, and I'm sure we'll have a bit of...
I stunned you? You're the Bears guru, man. Come on.
Danny's lead analyst, let's not forget. But yeah, you caught me out on that one because it's not a name I'd looked at, to be honest. Having said that, I have gone over 300 names. So
yeah, exactly.
Just getting my excuse in earlier.
I just picked the one that you don't know, right?
Yeah, just gone for the one that I didn't know the name of. We've got some people asking for what his name is again in the chat room.
Douglas Coleman III, Texas Tech.
It sounds like he makes a decent mustard as well.
Yeah. Great Poupon, actually.
So do you have what do you have on your hot dogs then? Is it mustard or is it ketchup?
No, listen, man, I do Chicago style hot dog. You do the sport peppers, the celery salt, the relish, the mustard. No ketchup. I'm not a communist. Come on, bro.
What's the best pizza in town?
Oh, man, I'm going to go with my guys over at Phil's here, right down the road from me. Phil's Pizza. They got the best pie in town.
Is that
the meatiest, the cheesiest? They're the best.
Is that a tavern style?
No, they're a thicker, thin crust, but like a regular dough crust, but they are the best out here over by me. We actually just gave away a gift card to them last night over here on Fat Mike Chicago Sports Show as a shout-out gift for the listeners.
Nice little plug there as well.
Yeah, like I said, man, I'm not just saying it because hey, they helped me out by giving away a giveaway, but that's the pizza I go to. Listen, I don't call myself Fat Mike for shits and giggles. That's There's a reason why I do that. It's because I eat Phil's probably twice a week, you know?
That's great. I just realised that Greg's pointed out that we do have a different... It's all right. Danny calls himself lead analyst, but we do have a doctor who is looking at the draft as well.
I thought you were saying a doctor to look at me for losing some weight.
Oh, no. I'm never going to tell you that. I mean, that would be like the pot calling the kettle black, Mike. I'm also built for comfort and not speed these days. So it's there you go. You got two chubbies in the house as well for those that are interested. So with that, thank you very much for your time. Those who haven't listened already can go on any podcast network and listen to the Fat Mike show on the Bears Barroom Network. And you've also got some previous shows that you did independently as well. Yes. A Bears Barroom personality now. You've caught me out on the first show, so great job there. Hopefully, you've also done a bit of homework to catch out Greg and also Joe Mandel for when you're going on with them later today. So please listen. So everyone listening, I hope you had a good time listening, and I hope you liked it as well, Mike.
I did. Thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, and welcome to the network, mate. And anytime I can help you, let me know.
Thank you. Sounds great, man.
Apparently, we've got Jim Larison on the phone, so Aldo's telling me.
Oh, I'm sure Braggs is going to love that.
Oh, yeah. That's an inside joke for those who haven't already listened. So
Tim Jarrison. Or what's his name? Jim Larison? Tim Jarrison?
Oh, he's not going to like that. Jar of Larison.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go. So... Okay, I'm not going to say that, am I, all day? So I've just been told to say an expletive deletive, and I'm not going to do it. It hurts my British sensibilities. So please bear with me. I'm not speaking with a Chicago accent. You can probably tell I'm not from Chicago.
Try and do your best Chicago accent. Give it a go.
Do a Chicago accent like...
You're all... I'm looking at you right here through the via Skype. You're all dialed up. You got your Key Mix jersey on. You got your Bear logo on.
My sign.
Yeah,
my boy.
Yeah, do your best Chicago accent. Let's hear it. I want to see this. It's gonna be funny.
Well, I always love listening to Chauncey's Outdoors when he's on the weekends early in the mornings and
that sounds
radio.
Extremely Irish. What the hell did you just do there?
Exactly.
That's what Chauncey sounds like, man. He's sort of as
He's
Chicago
not Irish. He doesn't sound like the Lucky Charms guy.
I think you'll find that if you want to speak like an Irishman, you sound much more like that if you're from the Republic of Ireland. If you're from Northern Ireland, you sound much more like that, slightly angrier sounding from Northern Ireland. So those are Irish accents if you want to know what an Irish accent sounds like. That's what it sounds like to me. Not like Bill Swirsky. That bears. Get a Polish sausage. There you go.
You're close, man. You're close. You're almost there. Need some more work. We'll get you.
Let's hear your British accent, Mike. Just for the humiliation back.
All right, let me try.
There you go.
Yeah, let me try. Okay. Good day, mate. Hello. Hello. Cheerio.
That's Australian.
Oh shit. Oh yeah, I'm way off. Yeah, you're right. Oh well. There you go. Humiliation given back. There you go.
Well, I think that's as good a place as any to end the broadcast up, Phil. There, two bits of humiliation for the listeners. So with that, I mean, take care of each other. I hope you're doing well, Mike, and your family over there in Chicago, and the same to you, Aldo, and all of the listeners in live and those listening to the podcast later. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and respect the social distancing. Stay in if you can. If you can't stay in, make sure you wash your hands all the time and don't touch your face or mouth. And always bear down and listen to the Bears Barroom Network. We've got Shy Fans in the Stands, Mike North. We've got 100 Proof. We got Draft on Tap. We've got no reasons for you to listen to any of the Bears networks. Stay with us. Bear down.